Now, joining us on the blower, the new Northampton State himself, Lukhan Salakaia-Loto. Lukhan, how are you, brother?
Hey, boys. How's it
All
going?
right, mate. You all right? You all right, mate?
God, already, mate.
Sorry.
Khan, obviously you signed with Northampton, I think, for a few seasons, kicking off shortly. But you've been spending a bit of time down at Chipseywood playing with the Magpies in Queensland Premier Rugby. How's that been going for you, brother?
Bro, it's actually been pretty good, eh? I was actually telling one of the boys today, it was probably something that I didn't realise I actually needed, was to go down and play some club rugby with the boys down at Souths and amongst the culture down there, and just to see the boys just, work normal jobs and then still rock up to training early and give their all to sort of, try and make that transition to the next level. So I think for me it was sort of a full circle moment, and it's just been good. It's probably the most I've enjoyed my rugby in the last couple of years, if I'm honest.
Awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so good to hear. It gives you a real good perspective, hey?
Yeah, bro, massively.
Yeah, and Khan, just mate, before I ask you a question, I'll get that $120 to you probably after the show or next week sometime. Is that all right?
I knew you're gonna do this.
Now, Khan, mate, you've had 8 years at Ballymore. You were there right at the very start when they were struggling, experienced some success the last couple of years. Do you feel like it was a good time to make a change for you?
Yeah, man, 100%. I think that's ultimately why I made the decision to head north and join Northampton was, there was a lot of, I thought about my game and what I needed to take it to the next level. And I think leaving Ballymore was exactly what I needed to do and sort of put myself in a place I've never been before. I think going over there, the way they play the game up north is probably something I need to experience in order for me to take my game to the next level and to surround myself around guys like Courtney Laws and guys like Dan Bigger and stuff and world-class players like them. I think it's only going to benefit my game. But like you said, 8 years at Ballymore, man, I've loved every second of it. Down to the lads and the good and bad times, and especially those tough moments early in my career. So, definitely time for me to move on. Not saying that I won't be back, but I think at this point in my career, it's something for me to experience something new and take my game to the next level.
Nice.
And Lukhan, obviously, as an internationally capped, lock, there probably were a few opportunities for you overseas, not just in the UK. Was it a tough decision to end up at Northampton, or did you have many options to look at in Japan or France?
Yeah, obviously, was pretty fortunate enough to sort of talk to a few clubs around the world. I've got a family now, so I think going to England was probably the big one for me, and an English-speaking country, which helps. And just the way that the club approached me, the process when I was talking to them, and the way they've been in touch and communicated to me to this day, the quality of players, the facilities they have, even the way they finished this year, came fourth in the Premiership, was probably unlucky not to beat Leicester in that semi. So I'm looking forward to heading up there, and I think it's going to be good for me.
Khan's friends here. Hey, I've been going down to South a bit lately, watching the missus, and before the missus plays, obviously she gets there a bit earlier, and I've been watching the big fella have a trundle, and it's actually been good watching you down at Clubland, mate, and actually ripping in, and obviously the guys will get, they play a bit better when you're there, and just seeing you actually enjoy your footy again has been awesome. To be honest with you, I got pretty drunk on Saturday. Supposed to go to dinner after, but Felipe Manu had other ideas. Hey, also, mate, one of my questions here. I'm sort of bottling this again. Hey, so obviously there's a couple of you missed a couple of the games of the Reds towards the end of the year. You don't obviously have to answer this question, but with the way I've seen it a few times with some of the pro players that, when they sign another contract and going elsewhere, what's the sort of go like? Do you think it's a bit weird, or do you think it should you should at least play the year out and get chosen for those sort of last games, even though you're contracted to somewhere else? I just think it's quite hard to watch because I thought the Reds could have used you in a few of those games, and it was, would have been a good send off as well. But what are your sort of thoughts on that? Do you think it sort of needs to change a bit, or?
Oh man, obviously it's not up to the player. I think you ask any departing player, they would love to play right up until the end. But look, obviously, you can go two ways about it. You can go that way, or you can, obviously look and build towards the following year. In saying that, I'm not disregarding the performances of the boys that were playing. Yeah. Ryan Smith, Angus Blythe, Seru. Two of those three boys in Aussie A. So, they played awesome footy this year, and credit to them. They deserve to play. Look, man, there's, obviously things happen, and you're not always going to agree with things. I'm happy with that. One thing I won't do is be someone I'm not. So, look, I'm grateful for my time. I enjoyed my time in the jersey, and for me this year, the only thing I wanted to do was play in front of my little girl at Suncorp, and I got to do that once, and for me that's the best sign-off that I could ask for.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you reckon that's sort of they're just building for that next year, and they're sort of building those combinations or whatever? That's sort of somewhat the reason why they sort of do that?
Bro, to be honest, I'm not quite sure. To be honest, I'm not quite sure, bro. I'm not quite sure. I wasn't. That's above my pay grade. So, look, I'm just happy the boys have played well in those positions. Like I said, Ryan Smith's in Aussie A, getting those opportunities. Seru, all those guys getting good opportunities, and it's probably just showed that I spent maybe a year too long in Ballymore. It's time for me to go, so I probably made the right decision.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, obviously the Reds have built quite a good core squad over the years. Do you think there may need to be a bit of a change of like the sort of coach and the hierarchy, and if so, sort of what sort of direction and who do you think would be a good fit for, say, someone to coach at the Reds, sort of thing? You know what I mean?
Oh. Bro,
Geez, you've come in with loaded questions today.
I was just like, oh no, it's
I'm not having a go, but you know what I mean. Like it's, they've built for so many years now. They've got to a really good point.
I know.
Do you think
have they plateaued?
Yeah, have they plateaued? Do you think there
need
needs to be another sort of revamp and
similar to what they're doing at the Western Force?
Yeah.
Sort of Tim Sampson obviously built them up, built that culture, got them where they are. They've been able to see someone like Simon Cron with his credentials, his ability to sort of bring out the best in players. Do you think maybe there is an opportunity, Khan, at the Reds to maybe, like we were saying last week, I reckon personally, someone like Jason Gilmore at the helm of the Reds would be absolutely awesome. Do you think maybe a shake-up like that to be able to promote a new coach in the system could be something that could really elevate the Reds to that next level, considering we saw maybe this year they did plateau a little bit?
Bro, to be honest, I think you look at Thorny as a coach and you look at the squad, I think that's a reflection of the player he was. When you look at our squad, the way they play, it's probably pretty similar to the way he played his rugby, which was a successful career. Like I don't think anyone's got a career that can stand toe-to-toe with him. So, look, I probably can't answer that question. Maybe if you ask me next month,
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. And
look, it's I think under Thorny, we obviously won. We obviously won Super AU last year, which is probably one of the high points. Mm-hmm. You look at the squad that we've got. We boast Wallabies across the park.
Yeah.
Obviously led by Nella and Rabs there, and guys, young talents like Harry Wilson and guys up and coming, Ryan Smith and all that. So I think on our day, and I've always said this, on our day, we go toe to toe with anyone in the comp. If we are healthy, which was obviously a massive factor this year, which isn't an excuse, but I think we go toe to toe with any team at full strength, and look, I think until we see that our team at full strength, I think then we probably haven't seen us at full strength, so I can't answer that question, but
Bit of an easier one, mate. What are you looking forward to mostly going over to England, especially to Northampton?
Bro, just a change of scenery, eh? Like Dossie said, I've been at the club for 8 years. It's such a long time to be in one place. I only know what I know and only know what I've been taught at Ballymore. So for me, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of rugby that I don't know. I've been lucky enough to, represent my country at the Reds, and to think that's only a small part of the world, especially in rugby. I think, like I said before, for me to go over to England and experience new things, to grow as a person, as a man, and to experience a new brand of rugby amongst some world-class players and different coaches, different perspectives, as Dottie touched on. I think that's what I'm look forward to most, and hopefully I can grow as a player and become better.
That's awesome, Khan. You're obviously, mate, you're going in with the right frame of mind. And it's going to be a hell of an experience for you. I guess just speaking a bit more technically, you talk about going over and wanting to grow as a player. Your game specifically, can you give us, a bit of an insight in terms of what areas specifically you're looking to, develop and grow over at Northampton?
Yeah, well, I think you compare my game to the other locks in Australia. As a lock, I play a bit more looser.
Yeah,
I'm probably not a top 5 specialist, if I'm honest. Although I do love scrums and lineouts, I probably don't play as tight as someone like a Darcy Swain or Matt Phillip, Isaac Rodder.
Yep.
I probably like to sort of roam a bit more and probably attack more. So I think just to play those tight games over in Europe, in England, I think that's only going to benefit my game and probably improve areas around the breakdown, the contact area, and things that I have been told from Wallabies that I need to get better at. So that was obviously a major part of my decision as to why I've left.
Cool. And are you going over as a lock or a lock/6? Have you spoken to the coaches around where they're going to prefer to play you?
So I'll be going over as both, predominantly as a lock. They've got, I think Courtney Laws is the captain of England, I'm pretty sure. He's the 6th when he's there. So obviously I bring that flexibility to a team where I can cover 6 as well. But probably more of a lock.
Cool.
Hell of a guy to learn from in Courtney Laws. Very similar, I guess.
I tell you what,
player, that's a second rower who can play 6 pretty bloody well.
Having both of them in the second row, mate, that's a daunting pack.
Yeah, that's so scary. Well, Khan, I want to get your thoughts on this as well, because we've seen a pretty big exodus of players in the last, sort of 18, 24 months, but in particular just recently, guys like Ferguson, Warner, Ray Simone, yourself, you're going overseas. Like, there are a lot of these players that, may or may not feel like their representation in the Wallabies is at the fore just because of the talent that we do have in Australia right now. And we are seeing this relaxing of the Giddo law. Like, you're going over, you're a very well-established footy player and a Wallaby unto itself. Do you think there is going to be a change in the very near future, or do you think there should be a change in the very near future for the Wallabies to have their best players on the field? We do need to maybe loosen those Giddo laws, because at the moment, we've got Quade Cooper, Marika Korobuti, and Samu Karevi coming in, but there's a plethora of other top-class footy players that we know would really make a difference in the gold jersey.
Yeah, look, if I was staying in Australia, I'd probably say, lock it up and just pick from Australia. But yeah, obviously, you can't fit. Look, if we say who's the best players, who are the best Australian players across the world, you're going to pick more than 3 from overseas. You look at the guys across the globe that are playing. Rory's obviously over there. Will Skelton, BPA just won the top 14 with Montpellier. There's heaps of talent that are from Australia overseas. Sean McMahon, all those lads. So, but I understand in terms of not wanting to, I guess, water down the jersey and still keep the value in the gold jersey high, by only limiting to 3 Giddo law players from overseas. You want guys to represent Australia. You come back to Australia and play in Australia. So I get it, I understand it. But at the end of the day, I think we all want to win the World Cup, and I think it really depends on who you ask, to be honest. But I'm just glad that the Wallabies can get guys like Marika, Quady, and Sami back, because add those three guys into any team in the world, and you've got a good chance of winning.
Bloody oath.
And there's been a lot of discussions around the format of Super Rugby. You've been around long enough now to play all forms. The original Super Rugby, then you had Super Rugby AU, and then Super Rugby Pacific this year. Looking forward, I know Rugby Australia is trying to play a bit of hardball at the moment, but looking forward, what do you feel like is the best format? You know what I mean? If you could dream something up in the Southern Hemisphere, what would it look like?
I'll take it back to how it was when I first started playing back in 2016, and that was the real Super Rugby, as we all know. I've heard the ideas. I've heard the ideas of guys pitching Super AU or Club Rugby. But that's why we had NRC. And I think being able to play against teams from South Africa, New Zealand, the added additions of the Sunwolves and all that back in those days. It was awesome because it wasn't just prepare for the Rebels and we prepare for the Tars and then Brumbies. It was you had to change your game plan up every week, and you're versing different brands of rugby every week. And I think it was just awesome the way that the comp was back then. Not sure we can get back to that, but if I could take it back there, I would, because that's when I most enjoyed playing Super was back then.
With your recent club appearances and playing for club, do you think there's merit in investing into club and as that next sort of step instead of NRC sort of thing? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I reckon if you invest in club, it's awesome, because you look at the guys that are all playing down there. There's like 2 or 3 grades where guys could make the transition and slowly build their game and eventually make Super Rugby if that was the case. Like guys like Ryan Smith started playing 4th grade at Brothers, now he's in Australian A. Like, I think if we invest into club players, imagine how many more guys like him can crack through. Guys like Fael, for Tawika, that can crack through. Like there's a lot of guys down there, and even just down the south, we've got a few boys that down there that should be probably in Super Preseasons. George Francis, Sam Matafa, there's heaps
George
of lads
Francis,
down there.
yes.
So I reckon they should invest into club, especially grassroots.
So sort of saying, so would you say club is the next tier and then, work from that instead of having an NRC sort of thing?
Yeah, if it was done right.
Yeah, correct. That's Sam Matafa, man. He's
gone, mate.
He's awesome, hey. He's so silky.
Yeah, bro, he's good.
Yeah, big unit too. George Francis, man, Gojira himself, man. I love him so much.
He's the man.
Oh, mate, he's just
How's that try the other day?
Mate, how good was it?
Yeah, it was.
Mate,
I'm going to say it was
rampage.
50 metres out, but it was about 40. But I'm
It was
saying 50 metres.
30-something odd metres
Yeah.
out. Like, he had a lot of work to do, and he made it look very sexy.
Yeah, very, very good. Very nice.
Anyone? No? All right, well, Khan, thanks so much for joining us, brother. We wish you all the best over in Northampton. We appreciate you joining us and having a bit of a yarn, mate. And we'll be looking on from afar and cheering you on, brother.
Nah, thanks, lads. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Boys.
Cheers,
brother.
Khan. See you, brother. Well done, Lukhan, Salakaia-Loto, Freeney. What the hell, man?
Sorry, man. I just...
Coming in hot.
What a man.
yeah. Sorry, I had to ask a question.